Nonprofits and foundations tackle issues like failing schools, gang violence, homelessness, some of society's most intractable problems. And when the needle doesn't move due to a lack of adequately trained leaders and volunteers, it can create a vicious cycle. Funded projects achieve little progress, which leads to cynicism, which leads to an unwillingness to fund future projects. And if the feeling that nothing works sets in, all hope is lost. Seeking to break that cycle, One Detroit Foundation sought the assistance of the University of Michigan School of Social Work. Christina Shockley has the story.
Job loss, population decline, crumbling communities, each a monumental challenge, and Detroit has faced them all. For decades, grant-making organizations tried to staunch the bleeding, but the magnitude of Motown's problems seemed to overwhelm a diffuse blanket approach. Now, Detroit's Skillman Foundation is trying a new approach called the Good Neighborhoods Initiative.
What is the Neighborhood Initiative, and what do you hope to accomplish?
While the Skillman Foundation had done great things for individual children to help them beat the odds and make it out of poverty and build a future, the odds for children as a whole got worse in the city of Detroit. And so we decided to work on a smaller number. We took 6 areas of the city that have the greatest concentrations of children and said, we're going to weave a program that will help to break the cycle of poverty in those neighborhoods.
So you wanted to focus.
That's correct. So it's really a targeting strategy.
To help ensure that focused approach will pay dividends, Skillman reached out to the University of Michigan School of Social Work, which launched the Technical Assistance Center to help. Pat Miller is the TAC's project manager.
Skillman looked to the university because they wanted to be sure that their work was founded in best practice, founded in research, what has proven to be successful, what has worked in other community change initiatives. And once we get that, then it's our job to figure out how do we translate that into something that's going to work in this neighborhood.
Those translations don't always go smoothly, according to principal investigator Larry Gant.
A lot of comprehensive community initiatives have really not done well in terms of creating and developing these community advisory boards. And so we really created a board book. We identified procedures and strategies for developing different models of community governance.
Each neighborhood is different.
Right.
What factors do you look at when you're determining how each neighborhood needs to be governed, or what each neighborhood needs?
If you look at Southwest Detroit, for example, actually is comprised of a number of very, very different and divergent neighborhoods by language, by culture, and by history. So how do we basically provide a way that provides representation to all of these very powerful and very prideful neighborhoods so that no one gets slighted, but and that everybody has an equal vote, but that no one overrepresents themselves? So they have kind of christened themselves as the Congress of Communities.
The Congress of Communities executive director is Maria Salinas.
Through this initiative, what have you learned from the folks at the University of Michigan, the School of Social Work?
They have been a wonderful partner. Even though they're academia, you know, they're educated mindset and they're very up here, they really have allowed us to work with them to be practical in their deliverables. Where now, it's a norm. Everything that they give us now, they pretty much already break it down to that level, you know? So to have them minds, them academic minds that are used to working one way usually, very academic, to do grassroots, resident-driven work and to help us to deliver research and do research in that manner has been phenomenal.
What worked for Southwest Detroit would have been a poor fit in other communities.
In another community, there was real concern by the residents that the institutions and organizations would be too strongly represented. And so in that situation, the residents themselves decided we've got to have heavy resident representation.
Nicole Brown is the Communications and Outreach Coordinator for Midtown Detroit, Inc. And Patricia Dockery directs the North End Central Woodward Governance Board, which is constructing a new food choice pantry for residents.
There's so many wonderful organizations doing work in the community. And they all have wonderful projects that are all contributing to the success of this neighborhood. But really, it all starts at the root, which is the strong community engagement from all of the residents.
I'm wondering what results you've seen since this initiative began.
We're used to seeing systemic change come from the top down. Now it's coming from the bottom up. And that's something new. And people are excited about being involved in making that change happen for themselves.
Calvin Colbert is the executive director of Detroit Impact and coordinates the Cody Rouge Youth Council.
The university has really been a great resource to our youth, to know that the university is in the community, working in the community. They have access to the university, the interns, teaching leadership skills to our young people. So just the presence of the university within the community has made a great difference. And I think for our young people, it's just being able to have access.
Deshaun Harris and Quanah Lins help their peers thanks to training and resources provided by the Youth Council.
Why did you become involved with the youth group?
I can talk to anybody about anything. So if you need help, I talk to you, try to give you advice, anything to try to help you out.
Like with family?
Family, friends, relationships.
Peer pressure within school is basically just trying to find out how you felt about what's going on within your school and your neighborhood. From the council, I learned that I can make a difference within my community. You have to get together. You have to be a community. You have to actually become a neighborhood. It's about communication and togetherness.
And while it may seem like a simple thing, kids need after-school activities to develop a full slate of interests. Rebecca Baer is with the Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance.
Don Bosco Hall Community Resource Center houses the Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance, and together they help put together a lot of the programs that you see. There's pottery classes, developing kids, which is like a leadership program. There's tutoring, there's the band, karate, basketball, there's baseball. We're just really here for the community.
Rebecca is applying the training she received from the University of Michigan's TAC in her own community.
I recently participated in their Leadership Academy and graduated, and it taught me a lot about organizing volunteers and how to get grassroots efforts started, how to reach the community, capacity building and things like that. They actually sat down with us and talked to us about how we might be able to get creative and to raise funds and to reach out to businesses in the community.
Halfway through the Skillman Foundation's 10-year Good Neighborhoods initiative, the experience, knowledge, and skills being transferred from the University of Michigan to communities in Detroit is fostering a precious resource, hope for a better future.
So what will success look like?
We got a long way to go. First thing was listening to folks and planning. The second phase was really a readiness, because you can't ask people to kind of change overnight. They have to be ready for change. But this next 5 years, we really think that's when the interconnections are going to be made.